Prices of basic goods after seeing a record 4.9% inflation rate in April. The Bangko Sentral estimates this may further accelerate at 5 to 5.8%. George Quiles tells us what it means for the consumer.
With the rising cost of basic commodities, Carinderia owner Clarita Bartolome says she's trying to maintain the prices of her dishes to keep her customers. This may also mean that the portions she serves to her patrons are a little less than usual.
Nag-a-adjust na lang po ako. Kasi kawawa naman po mga bumibili. Sa sabaw, yun, lilibre ko ang sabaw, anli yun.
Even at the Obrero Public Market in Manila, vendors noticed soaring prices of meat, fish, and vegetables during the past weeks. But passing the entire price increase onto customers is not an option for them.
Nag-a-adjust na lang kami, hindi na namin tinataasan yung presyo. Kami na lang nag-ano, kahit na papiso-piso hanggang 5 piso tumataas na yung hango namin. Hindi namin nag-garas ng presyo sa baboy.
Halimbawa, yung sa okra, medyo tumaas, nagbabawas na lang kami sa tali, ganon. Sa mga talong, ganon din. Parehas pa rin yung mga presyo, nagbabawas lang pag mahal.
Based on the projection of the Bangko Sentral, the inflation rate last month may settle at 5 to 5.8%. Despite lower electricity rates in Meralco-serviced areas and decline in prices of rice and LPG, the BSP says the increase in domestic petroleum prices and key food items, as well as peso depreciation, are affecting the inflation.
Tipid-tipid muna, bawas sa gastos. Yung mga hindi kailangan bilhin, wag mo nang bilhin.
The BSP says it will find ways to ensure stability in prices of basic goods. But for now, the consumers need to bear the brunt of escalating prices in their daily lives. George Quiles, CNN Philippines.
Amid the rising prices of goods, the Agriculture Department again warns there could be a food shortage, but some farmers dispute the agency's claim. Senior correspondent Lois Calderon reports.
Duterte's outgoing agriculture minister again sounds the alarm about a looming food crisis as he makes the case for the next Congress to boost the agency's coffers.
In no other time than in the last 2 years of crisis, have we seen food security more intertwined with national security, with straightforward cause and effect. Mistakes in policy direction and delays in action could be catastrophic. In agriculture, we have reiterated how strapped our budget remains. Kukunti po, ang agrikultura ay napabayaan all these years, 30 years.
How bad could a food shortage be? We take stock of the inventory and forecast harvest. The Philippines rice buffer is actually good for 3 months. That's according to the Agriculture Department. But it hopes to harvest up to 20 million metric tons of grain this year and import as much as 1.8 million metric tons. That will boost rice sufficiency from the 92% last recorded in 2021.
Hopefully, this wet season will produce more, barring typhoons. Hopefully, we could hit 20 million metric tons of palay this year.
Hog production is forecast at 11 million as towns infested with the African swine flu are down to 12 barangays. Containing the virus is a work in progress since 2019.
Kulang pa po tayo ng baboy because of the African swine fever, but our repopulation efforts are slowly gaining ground.
Vegetable farmers tell a different narrative. In the Cordilleras, farmers produce as much as 1.7 million kilos a day, matching last year's harvest. That even as producing them have become more expensive given higher fertilizer and fuel costs.
Marami pa rin po tayong supply and in fact may mga hindi pa rin po nabibili na pinapamigay namin sa mga relief operations. As far as the vegetables are concerned, wala po kaming nakikita na magiging shortage. Pagtitipirin po kasi nila yung commercial na fertilizer po noon, hindi po siya masyadong compact. Yung mga dahon ng mga repolyo, verde pa rin.
In Benguet, this farmer was forced to sell his carrot harvest at an extremely low price of 10 pesos per kilo. Others say some are even selling cabbage at 6 pesos per kilo.
That's an indication na sobra ang carrots ngayon. From the looks of the landscape and as the price shows, ay wala po tayo nakikita na shortage ng highland vegetables.
With supply outpacing demand, farmers say they are selling at a loss. The Agriculture Department is asking Congress to triple its budget for 2023. If a food crisis is indeed in the horizon, farmers want to see the next agriculture minister put the money where the mouth is. Lois Calderon, CNN, Philippines.
Welcome news, meanwhile, for millions of senior citizens' proposal to increase hurdles Congress. The measure now only needs the go signal of President Duterte. Chrissy Di Matulak tells us how the elderly feel about this.
Every day, 74-year-old Linda Madrid wakes up with her daughter at 6 in the morning. They begin their rounds collecting scraps and plastic bottles. They sell them to junk shops and earn from 200 to 300 pesos a day. Madrid admits they are not enough for their daily expenses. But there is hope yet. A measure seeking to increase the monthly social pension for indigent senior citizens like Madrid to 1,000 pesos now only needs the approval of President Rodrigo Duterte. The measure is eyed for implementation next year.
Maganda yan, ma'am. Nagpapasalamat ako sa Diyos. Araw-araw na lang kami nangangalakal. Aabutan ba kaming ulan-init?
Seniors like Jesus Batalier and Nida Varnes say that since turning 60 years old, they have never received benefits from the government.
Wala pa, kahit missing ko, wala pa. Nag-edad ako ng 70, wala akong natatanggap. Malaking bagay yun, ma'am. Kasi ano na yun eh, lalo ako, biyudo na, wala na asawa. Pero may isa akong anak. Ako lang nagbubuhay.
Oo, 63 pa lang ako, na ako sa munisipyo. Pero yung ano na yan, hindi ako nakakakuha ng pensyon na yan.
Oh, bakit po na?
Aywan ko ba, palakasan nata dito sa amin?
According to data from the Department of Social Welfare and Development, as of May 2022, more than 4 million senior citizens are qualified beneficiaries of the social pension. Senior Citizens Party List Representative Ompong Ordanes says the measure to increase the benefits for indigent senior citizens has been in the works for quite some time. Last Monday, the bill was passed on third and final reading in the Senate and adopted by the House of Representatives the following day. Ordanes says they will make the process of distributing the pension for seniors easier with the help of the Social Work Department.
May database na ang ating DSWD yan.
Okay.
Now, para sila maka-avail, mapupunta sila sa OSCA, Office of the Senior Citizen Affairs Office ng bawat LGU. Mag-a-apply sila. Nandun ang ating municipal CSWD. Kung sa city naman, ito yung CP PSWD officer.
For Linda, Jesus, and Nida, the amount will go a long way as they deal with their mounting daily expenses. Chrissy Di Matulak, CNN Philippines.
More stories ahead. A foreign cargo vessel facing complaints over a collision in Palawan on Saturday that left 7 Filipino fishermen missing. And are we still seeing a fight for the Senate presidency? Senator Mig Zubiri may be headed to the top Senate post, with Senator Cynthia Villar now out of the race. Details when we return here on Newsnight.
Mas pinalawak, mas pinalakas. RPN sa iba't ibang mga lalawigan. DZRL Bataan, DZTG Tuguegarao, DZBS Baguio, DZKI Iriga, DYKB Bacolod, DYKC Cebu, DXKS Surigao, DXKD Dipolo, DXKO Cagayan de Oro, DXKT Davao, DXKP Pagadian, DXXX Zamboanga, DXDX General Santos, DWIZ 882 Manila at RPN Provincial Stations.
Kini ang RPN Radio Philippines Network, istasyon DXKP 1377 kHz sa dial sa inyong mga radyo. Nagsibya gikan sa dakbayan sa Pagadian, DXKP AM.
Your talk station.
Kini Pagadian.
This is Newsnight here on CNN Philippines. Authorities have filed charges against crew members of a foreign cargo vessel involved in the Palawan collision over the weekend. Paige Javier reports the Coast Guard is shifting the focus of its operations as the search continues for the 7 missing Filipino fishermen.
Four crew members of cargo vessel MV Happy Hero from the Marshall Islands are facing various complaints. The Coast Guard filed a case Tuesday afternoon over the collision with Filipino fishing vessel FB Jot 18 off Maracanao Island in Palawan Saturday.
The Coast Guard filed the case, master and the officers of MV Happy Hero at ang TK Prosecutor's Office. Kahapon po yun ng alas 4 ng hapon. Ang charges na ibinigay nila natin sa kanila is reckless imprudence, resulting to multiple homicide and serious physical injuries and damage to properties.
Facing charges are the captain of the ship, who is a Croatian, the second mate, who is Romanian, and 2 Filipino officers. The Coast Guard says among the grounds for the case are the scratches and damage they found on MV Happy Hero during an underwater inspection. Based on the initial investigation, the Filipino fishing vessel was anchored during the incident.
So yung machine naka-anchor, di may problema sila, nandun sila. Base sa informasyon, natutulog nga yung mga crew eh. So may nakakita na parating yung barko na malaki. So nagising niya yung kanyang mga kasamahan, 13 nagising niya.
MV Happy Hero will remain in the country pending a court order. The Coast Guard also says the Filipino vessel may also be liable for violating protocols and could pay fines of up to 60,000 pesos. Meanwhile, the search for the missing fishermen continues, but will be now more of a retrieval operation.
Never tayo na nag-assume na yung mga biktima natin mga insidente ay namatay na. But of course, because of the recent development and na-cover na naman natin, we have done so much.
The Coast Guard vows to locate the missing fishermen while making sure justice is served for the tragic incident. Paige Javier, CNN Philippines.
In global health coverage, celebrations in the major financial hub of China as officials allow millions of people to leave their homes for the first time since late March. Shanghai ended its lockdown on Wednesday as COVID-19 cases begin to decline. Businesses no longer need the so-called whitelist approval for on-site employees, but workers will still be required to present negative COVID-19 tests. Tourism leaders in the United States, meanwhile, are pushing to end the pre-travel testing for vaccinated tourists. Airlines for America and the U.S. Travel Association say the requirement does not match the threat of COVID-19 and is only harming the economy. A looming monkeypox outbreak in more countries. The World Health Organization reports more than 550 cases in 30 nations. It says this is the first time monkeypox has spread this fast, but the WHO is, quote, not concerned about a global pandemic for now. Senate Majority Leader Mig Zubiri looks headed for the Senate presidency. That's after a strong contender for the top Senate post, Cynthia Villar, backs out. She says she's no longer interested in becoming Senate president, not even in a term-sharing setup.
Hindi, wala nang aspiration. Ayoko na. I want a simple life.
I've always wanted to form a supermajority in the Senate. So I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart, Ma'am Cynthia Villar, for her support and graciousness and magnanimity in helping me form a supermajority.
Zubiri says the next Senate President pro tempore will be Loren Legarda, while Joel Villanueva will replace him as Majority Leader. Other possible chairmanships are flashed on your screens. Neophyte Senator Robin Padilla will get the, or Senator-elect Robin Padilla will get the constitutional amendments and social justice panels, while Raffy Tulfo will lead the energy and OFW committees. President-elect Bongbong Marcos met with some members of the incoming 19th Congress Tuesday. They discussed his legislative agenda and his first State of the Nation address in July. Among those present were Senate Majority Leader Zubiri and House Majority Leader Martin Romualdez. Joining them were Senate President pro tempore Ralph Recto, Senators Bato de la Rosa, Nancy Binay, Bong Revilla, Lito Lapid, and Senators-elect Lauren Legarda, Rafi Tulfo, Jinggoy Estrada, Representative Janet Garin, and Isabela Representative Tony Pet Albano were also in attendance for the lower chamber. President-elect Marcos asks the Supreme Court to dismiss a petition that seeks to cancel his certificate of candidacy. Marcos insists that the Presidential Electoral Tribunal has the jurisdiction over his case and not the Supreme Court. High Court justices also sit as members of the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. Marcos's lawyer also argues that his client did not commit any false representation in his COC because the penalty of perpetual disqualification was never imposed. Petitioners tried to stop Marcos's proclamation but failed after the Supreme Court did not issue a temporary restraining order. Incoming Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles is looking to push for the accreditation of vloggers in media briefings. She says she wants to invite vloggers to some briefings, especially those conducted by President-elect Marcos himself. Cruz Angeles herself is a lawyer turned vlogger.
Yun pa lang po, yun ang isa sa aming na-formulate na priority for the incoming PCOO. We're also looking at things like opening up discourse and looking at issues of misinformation that seem to be a hot button topic nowadays.
The 7-year terms of some of the last appointees during the Duterte administration will be cut short. That's after the Commission on Appointments did not act on their confirmation. As Melissa Lopez tells us, this will pave the way for President-elect Marcos to make fresh appointments once he assumes office.
The Commission on Audit, a Civil Service Commission, and Commission on Elections are left without leaders on President Rodrigo Duterte's last month in office. The Commission on Appointments has bypassed the appointments of COA Chairman Rizalina Hustol, CSC Chairman Carlo Nograles, COMELEC Chairman Saidamen Pangarungan, and Commissioners George Garcia and Amy Neri after failing to reach a quorum. They weren't even invited to the Senate Session Hall for the third and last hearing on their posts. Senator Cynthia Villar says only 8 lawmakers showed up against a 9-member quorum. This means it's their last week in office as they were not confirmed by the CA just before the 18th Congress adjourned. The reason? Senator Mig Zubiri says it's better to give President-elect Bongbong Marcos a chance to appoint leaders of constitutional bodies.
This is a political body. We know that there is a request also from the new administration to give them that courtesy.
Pangarungan, Garcia, and Neri played key roles in the May 9 polls, where Zubiri won a fresh Senate term. Senator Coco Pimentel argues Marcos can still fill future vacancies in the constitutional bodies.
The appointees are independent, so who appoints them should not really be a big issue.
Pimentel and Senator Bongo say they would have voted in favor of the appointees, but to no avail. COMELEC's Garcia says he has already packed up even before heading to the hearing. He's sad but still thankful.
Kung ako po'y bibigyan ng pagkakataon na makapaglingkod muli, 10 beses ko pong pipiliin ang Commission on Election sapagkat kakaiba ang professionalism po ng lahat ng taong naandyan.
The former Marcos lawyer says he'll go back to teaching law. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
When we return on Newsnight, creating a buzz online, singer-songwriter duo Moira De La Torre and Jason Hernandez have broken up. And the K-pop superstars BTS sent a message of support at the White House on the last day of Asian, American, and Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
Mas pinalawak, mas pinalakas. RPN sa iba't ibang mga lalawigan. DZRL Bataan, DZTG Tuguegarao, DZBS Baguio, DZKI Iriga, DYKB Bacolod, DYKC Cebu, DXKS Surigao, DXKD Dipolo, DXKO Cagayan de Oro, DXKT Davao, DXKP Pagadian, DXXX Zamboanga, DXDX General Santos, DWIZ 882 Manila at RPN Provincial Stations.
Kini ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, Istasyon DXKP, 1377 kHz sa dial sa inyong mga radyo. Nagsibya gikan sa dakbayan sa Pagadian, DXKP AM.
Your talk station.
Kini Pagadian.
Welcome back. After 3 years of marriage, singer-songwriters Moira de la Torre and Jason Hernandez are going their separate ways. On social media, Jason says he confessed to Moira about being unfaithful. The couple have been best friends for years, tied the knot in January 2019. After the announcement of their breakup, topics like Moira, Paubaya, and yes to divorce trended online. Some netizens say legalizing divorce will give those in unhappy marriages a chance to find love again. Another points out the law should have conditions to consider how divorced couples' children will cope with the separation. The Philippines and the Vatican are the only sovereign states prohibiting divorce. Some commend Jason's decision to admit to cheating on Moira instead of lying to her. But other netizens also stress unfaithfulness in a relationship should not be normalized. Several people expressed sympathy for Moira online, saying that Paubaya, a track about the pain of being cheated on, now takes on a new meaning. Now, in the concert scene, get ready to hear hits like Break Even and The Man Who Can't Be Moved live again. Irish band The Script is taking its Greatest Hits Tour 2022 to the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay on September 23rd. Tickets will be up for sale by June 11th. The rock band last performed in Manila back in 2018. K-pop news now. During their visit to the White House, global phenomenon BTS took a stand against hate crimes in the U.S. In a press conference with the White House press secretary, the members say they are devastated by recent acts of violence against Asian Americans, adding that they want to support the community. The group also met with U.S. President Joe Biden to discuss Asian inclusion and representation.
We want to say thank you sincerely for your decision, such as signing the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law. So we just want to be a little help, and we truly appreciate the White House and the government's trying to find solutions.
And K-pop girl group aespa announced they will release their second mini album, Girls, this July 8th. The artists also gave fans a sneak peek of the record, dropping one of the songs, Illusion, earlier. And that is it for now. Join me again on news.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Deciding to conceive is often a big decision, and with recent advances in modern medicine allowing more women to have control over their pregnancies, it has become even more important to know what can affect the success of a desired pregnancy and what you can do to prepare. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and we bring you the knowledge and care you need, especially in this time of COVID-19. You're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. Following the onset of the pandemic, births in the Philippines have dropped to some of the lowest in decades. As we continue to live with this pandemic, it's vital to be prepared when planning to conceive safely. Let's welcome Dr. Maria Lourdes Cablik, who is an OB gynecologist, fertility specialist, and medical director of In Vitro Fertilization Davao and Brokenshire Hospital. Also with us is Dr. Romeo Lloyd Romero. He's a urologist at Casimiro Inares Senior Memorial Hospital. Dr. Des, what is the most important factor when it comes to conceiving, when it comes to fertility?
Age is the most important single factor affecting fertility. Age at around late teens and early 20s has the highest fertility potential for women. After that, at the age of 30s and beyond, their fertility potential decreases such that the younger the mom, the healthier the outcome.
Dr. Rome, pagdating naman sa lalaki, meron bang pinaka-important factor pagdating sa fertility?
For males, no, there are a lot of factors, but the most important is, of course, the quality of the sperm. So in cases that there's a desired pregnancy for the couple, the sperm should be adequate and there's no blockade of sperm. So it's important for the males to have quality and adequate sperm production for him to conceive.
Some factors that can reduce your fertility are things that you can control actually. So Dr. Des, I'd like to ask, aside from age, na talagang hindi ito modifiable, what are some of the other factors that can affect the fertility of a woman?
With ovulation, it is important to note that the regularity of the cycle, then commonly you ovulate, you're fertile most of the time. And with the ovulation, timing of sex, okay? You may ovulate, but you don't have sex, so you won't have pregnancy. And another important factor is the body weight. Okay, so that boils down to lifestyle. So as you keep your weight close to your ideal for your body, then we assume and presume that you have a regular ovulation.
Now, in the country, more and more women are getting pregnant in their 30s. Some may even delay parenthood until age 35 or even older. Dr. Lourdes, mostly this is the case because a lot more women are career-driven. They establish their careers first before that of a family. Is this something that women nowadays should take heed on? What is your advice on this?
The common reason for this is the uncertainty or not having a partner, followed by the wish to establish financial security, and that would mean they have to give way to their career and then before having a kids. No, these women are unaware of the age and relation to fertility. So there goes also that the risk also that goes with pregnancy around this age. If you are at age 25, the risk is 1 in 1,250. But if you are at age 40, complications of pregnancy is as high as 1 in 100 women. And speaking of complications, we're referring to hypertension, miscarriage, birth defects, diabetes. So these are the common and also difficult labor.
Now, it's important to remember that while these risks are likelier after 35, maybe 40 years old, this does not mean that all women are affected. Still, certain genetic risks are more evident as women age. Dr. Des, let's talk about this a little bit more. What are some of the genetic risks naman for infertility?
As your age advances, chromosomal anomaly. That is why there is a higher abortion rate when the woman has an advancing age. And this is particularly due to the chromosomal anomaly that goes with ages.
Dr. Des, when it comes to infertility here in our country, para dun sa mga hindi makaka-afford, they find themselves wanting to have a baby, what are the options for them?
Nowadays, they really make the effort to go to the centers or approach doctors regarding the condition. So the very simple step to help this infertile or subfertile couple is just semen analysis. Okay, so that's very accessible, cheap examination. So with that, you can rule out if the male has a problem.
Is this true? Can someone determine kung sino ang may problema, kumbaga? Or is a viable, distinct test really needed to determine which among the couple needs that?
For you to know that you are infertile, first of all, we tag a couple infertile if they are unable to conceive for 1 year. And we also, for some patients who already have a family, either the mother or the father who already had a child but was unable or having difficulty to conceive after a year, that is called secondary infertility. So you wouldn't know until you get somebody pregnant.
Age could affect a woman's fertility, but men may also be the reason for a couple's inability to start a family. Now, more on this when we return. We're in connection to healthcare. You're watching Let's Talk Health Talk. Infertility may result from an issue with either partner or a combination of factors that prevent the pregnancy. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk. We're together in health. The main symptom of infertility is the inability to get pregnant. There might be no other obvious symptoms. Sometimes women may have absent or irregular menstrual periods. In other cases, men with infertility may have some hormonal problems. Infertility can affect one or both partners. Dr. Rome, let's first talk about the causes for male infertility.
The cause of male infertility is basically sometimes a low sperm production or no sperm production, abnormal sperm function, and the blockade of sperm that goes through the urethra through the cervical os of the female. So that is the cause of male infertility.
Ano yung mga common causes ng abnormal sperm production?
One is varicocele, like I mentioned earlier, radiation in some patients who are radiated due to cancer or anything else. And also more common, infections, ejaculatory issues in patients who had previous surgeries. They can have retrograde ejaculation or obstruction, and also some antibodies that attack against sperm, some tumors, chromosomal abnormalities, patients who have hormonal imbalance, taking medications like anabolic steroid use, and in some males who has a bad lifestyle like smoking, drug and alcohol use, and also in some patients who have uncontrolled weight. So those are the things that could cause abnormal sperm production.
Those who use a bicycle to and from to commute work, are they at risk of male infertility? How about those who say that tight undergarments, the issue between boxers or briefs, are these relevant factors when it comes to the health of the sperm of a male?
Yes, that is correct, because exposure to high heat could also lead to abnormal spermatogenesis in the testes. So these are also valid factors. No, the temperature in the testes should be optimal for sperm production. So this is very valid. So also one of the risk factors for having infertility, aside from the age, aside from comorbid conditions, extremes of weight.
Is this something that happens often? What do parents of children na nagkaroon ng beke, what should they watch out for?
This could be a viral infection, and the patient will have orchitis. So some studies would also say that there is atrophy of the testis in some cases when there's a history of mumps. So, like what I said earlier, you wouldn't know unless you try or you get somebody pregnant. So, it's a risk factor, like I said, infection. So, mumps or viral infection in the testis.
Now, pag-usapan naman natin ang female infertility. Dr. Des, yung mga more common causes ng female infertility here in the Philippines.
For women, we have the uterine factors, okay? So that would mean myoma, especially if the myoma causes bleeding. And then you have this tubal factor. So meaning this tubal, we refer to the fallopian tube that connects the uterus to the ovary which is where the egg is coming from. And thirdly is the egg production, ovulation. So these are the three most common.
Family planning is the information, means, and methods that allow couples or individuals to decide if and when they want to have children. Dr. Des, what are some of the benefits ng family planning?
The time frame for this is around 2 to 3 years, especially if the mom delivered normally, that is vaginally, so she can have a pregnancy after 2 years. But if it would be cesarean section, you can delay it longer, so around 3 years, the earliest. And also, having family planning, this would enable the mom to have an ample time to provide undivided care to the baby, to the husband, and to herself.
One of the more common family planning methods is that of the rhythm method, both for the female, they use it as time. How effective is this? And when it comes to contraceptions for males, are there any other options aside from using a condom?
As a urologist, a short answer that we offer is vasectomy. So for vasectomy, family planning is called family planning because a couple should decide, not only the females. So vasectomy gives the males options or can be offered options to start with family planning, with cutting the vas deferens.
Sa isang lalaki, kapag naputol ang kanyang vas deferens, nawawala ba ang pagkalalaki niya? Nawawala ba ang kanyang testosterone sa katawan?
It's not demasculinating. So we only cut the cord that transmits the sperms to the penis. But totally, we are not cutting any circulation of the hormones with which most of the males are concerned of. So they think that there will be shortage of male hormones when you do vasectomy, but it's totally not affected.
Now, Dr. Des, pagdating naman sa female contraceptions, what are the safest options available here in the Philippines?
Modern family planning promotes the use of the hormonal, which is highly accessible, affordable, is the use of oral contraceptive pill. So unlike before, you can just go to the health center, you ask for it, then it is given to you. But recently, you have to buy it. So if you don't want to have this medication taken every day, then you can have the option of going to injectable. So you have your Depo-Provera there. So that is given once in every 3 months, and it is also cheap at cost of 150 per vial, and that will give you a protection for at least a quarter. Then you can have this sterilization, so the female counterpart of vasectomy. So this is highly offered in women who had a cesarean section. And then in the repeated delivery through cesarean section, then you can discuss this with your obstetrician. Then during delivery, then the obstetrician will perform the sterilization.
When we return, we'll talk about the treatment options for infertility and much more. Your health is our mission. This is MedTalk Health Talk. Many people are maybe unaware of their infertility problems. They may cause no symptoms and can go undetected during medical visits, and treating infertility can be complicated. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk, where your care comes first. Infertility is often defined as not conceiving after 12 months of regular intercourse without the use of birth control. How often should the couple be trying?
So the idea is to know when is the ovulation date. Some would say to have intercourse during those times. No? So in some cases, I tell my patient to do it every 2 to 3 days. So it wouldn't be difficult to be doing it every day. So that of getting pregnant. So during those ovulation dates. So nowadays there are apps that they can download that I tell my patient, especially for the female, they just have to log in the menstruation dates and it would predict their ovulation date. So nowadays it's very easy to predict when they are fertile.
Is this a factor when it comes to infertility? Meaning, if someone has a problem such as erectile dysfunction, does this affect the quality of their sperm, or is this totally independent?
It's solely independent, but it is also valid to be asked. So in some patients, you have when the erection is treated, they will be able to conceive.
Dr. Des, I'd like to talk about naman the available options para sa mga couples who are trying to have a baby, who are trying to conceive. 1 year na ang nakalipas without success of having a baby. What are their options now?
If there is a problem for the male, then one can have the intrauterine insemination. So the sperm now will be inserted or injected in woman's uterine cavity around the time of ovulation. Okay, so that is one option. But remember, this can only be repeated around 3 to 6 attempts, provided that the injected sperm has reached around 11 to 14 million. So that is where the quantity of the sperm matters. But if ever the quality of the sperm is low, what we mean by low is that less than 5 million, that's an outright indication for assisted reproductive technology, or what you call in vitro fertilization with intracytoplasmic sperm injection.
When it comes to trying to increase the amount of sperm, Dr. Rome, meron bang mga ways, natural ways, to increase someone's sperm count?
So we have to know the cause of the sperm, why it's low, why it is absent. So in some cases, we may give medications to correct the hormones, or in some cases, just to give you an answer on how to have a healthy sperm. So of course, a healthy lifestyle like balanced diet, somebody is overweight or obese, to exercise or to lower the weight, to control the cholesterol. Because basically those things are the ones that alter the hormonal imbalance in a patient. So to improve the sperm count, you have to also live a healthy lifestyle. So avoid smoking, avoid drinking. If you're using drugs, it's also good to avoid it. No, so also the use of anabolic steroids, again, you can avoid those things, no, to improve your sperm count. But basically, it is always problem-based, goal-oriented. So you have to look for the cause of the imbalance.
Dr. Des, can you discuss some other options for having a family, creating a family?
Okay, so the options that we usually recommend today, of course, we have to deal with what will deliver. So with that, we always promote in vitro fertilization after several failed attempts of trying the conventional manner. So if ever a lot of couple cannot afford this intervention, then we would offer quite invasive, and that would be your minimally invasive surgery to overcome the anatomical problem that would help achieve pregnancy.
With that, I'd like to thank obstetrician, gynecologist, fertility specialist Dr. Maria Lourdes Cabling and urologist Dr. Romeo Lloyd Romero. We want to be your partner for a lifetime of good health. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We'll see you again next time.